All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Desire is the gift of God. Browning said, "'Tis thou, God, who giveth, 'tis I who receive." Desire pushes man. It is the goad of action. It is behind all progress. Desire for health, happiness, true place, abundance, and security. All these are messengers of the infinite within you, saying to you, "Come on up higher, I have need of you." Desire is behind all progress. It is the push of the life principle within you. It is due to desire that we jump out of the way of an oncoming bus. We do this because we have a basic desire to preserve our life. The farmer plants seed due to his desire to attain food for himself and his family. Man builds airplanes and spaceships due to his desire to collapse time and space and explore the world. Desire is the push of the infinite, telling us of something which, if accepted by us, will make our life fuller and happier. The greater the expected benefit from the desire, the stronger is our desire. Where there is no expected benefit, gain, or advancement accruing, there is no desire. Consequently, no action is found. Failure to realize our desires to be, to do, and to have over a long period of time result in frustration and unhappiness. You are here to choose happiness, peace, prosperity, and all the blessings of life. Your desire enables you to say, "This is good, therefore I choose it." However, this is negative, so I reject it. All choice implies the perception of something preferable over what is rejected. The idea which some schools of thought have of annihilating and suppressing desire is disastrous in its consequences. If man succeeded in this, good and evil would be alike to him, for nothing has any power to raise any desire in him. He would become dead to all feeling and to all motive of action. Your desire means you choose one thing in preference to another, and where desire is extinguished, no such capacity to choose can exist. Trove, author of many mental and spiritual textbooks, points out that Indian devotees who, in pursuance of their resolve to crush out all desire, both for good and evil alike, became attenuated human forms, hopeless wrecks of what were once living men. Judge Trove points out that extinction of desire means apathy, no feeling and no action. Desire is the cause of all feeling and all action, and is the moving principle of the universe. Desire is the creative power, must be channeled and directed wisely. Desire and its fulfillment take place in your own mind. There are no evil desires in the true sense. You may misdirect or misinterpret the desire which wells up within you. For example, if you are poor, you desire wealth. If you're sick, you desire health. Health would be your savior. If you're in prison, freedom would be your savior. If you're dying of thirst in the desert, water would be your savior. The realization of your desire is your savior. You may desire love, companionship, or perhaps true place. The man who desires wealth may, in his ignorance, fulfill his desire or urge by killing a banker or robbing a store. This is misdirection of his desire, and he finds himself in jail and charged with murder. Teach a man that there is an infinite intelligence within him, which created the universe and all things therein contained, and it can fulfill all his desires, and he overcomes his sense of opposition and frustration. Man's desire for food is legitimate and normal, but killing someone in order to get a loaf of bread breeds violence, opposition, guilt, and self-destruction. There is a power within man which will lift him up, set him on the high road to happiness, health, peace of mind, and the realization of his fondest dreams without depriving any other person of his blessings. A man who was broke, out of work, and frightfully frustrated came to one of my lectures some time ago and listened to the 4 steps in prayer. He went home and applied it. He had never heard a lecture on the mind, but he said, "This makes sense." He made a list of 3 things he wanted. You might call them material, but they were his needs, and he was entitled to them. What is an automobile? Isn't it a spiritual idea outside your door? Supposing all the motors in the world were destroyed by some holocaust, couldn't an engineer draw a new design, and we roll them off by the million? Where do you suppose the automobile is? Isn't it in the mind of the engineer? Every single thing you look at came out of the invisible mind of man or the invisible mind of the infinite. That's where wealth is, and health, and everything else. So the items on the list for this man were true place, an automobile, and all the money he needed. He chose these concrete things to see if his thoughts were things. He wanted to prove to himself that the idea of the thing was the thing itself. I said in the lecture that the idea was the reality back of the form, just like an idea of a book, which I'm writing. Where is it? It's in my own mind, isn't it? He established a definite method of working and practiced it conscientiously every day, sticking to it long enough to give it a fair chance. This man knew that you do not learn to swim after one or two attempts. He prayed for true place as follows: I know infinite intelligence responds to me. It is now revealing my true talents to me. I am aware of my hidden talents. I am receiving a wonderful income. I know the idea of true place and its manifestation are one in divine mind. I follow the lead which comes into my conscious reasoning mind. It's impossible for me to miss it. It comes clearly, distinctly, and I recognize it. Within 2 weeks from the day his experiment began, he signed a contract for a job in San Francisco. He gave thanks and rejoiced in the law of his own mind. Then he went on to the next objective, a new car. He didn't have the money to buy it. He said to me, I know I have the idea of a car. It is real, and I'm going to remain faithful to it. It must manifest. He won a car in a raffle contest. Now he knew the secret of the subconscious, that if he identified himself mentally and emotionally with the idea, the subconscious would bring it to pass. He was very thankful. The next request was more wealth. Each morning and evening, during his prayer period, he gave thanks for God's riches circulating in his life, claiming that his idea of wealth was fulfilled. He fell in love with a wealthy widow in San Francisco, and she financed his new business. This man established a definite method of working, claiming each of his desires as already fulfilled. He claimed each one separately, but all at the same time, during his morning and evening meditative period. If you pray like the above-mentioned man, and if no improvement at all shows itself within a couple of weeks, scrap that method and adopt a new one. Remember, there's an answer. That is as certain as the rising of the sun. There's a young Demolay boy listening to me now as I'm making this particular tape. He decreed that his subconscious mind would reveal to him the perfect plan for going to a Demolay meeting in Oregon. And the way opened up, and he was invited there, and all his expenses paid. Also, last year he decreed that infinite intelligence in his subconscious would reveal the perfect plan for a trip to Europe, visiting many, many countries. And the way opened up, and all his expenses were paid by relatives. He knows how to use the deeper mind. Yet he is not working, he didn't have a sou in his pocket, but the way opened up, just like this man. The deeper mind responded. If he had the money, I'm sure he'd go out and buy a car. But he won it in a raffle. What difference does it make how you get it? He didn't steal it. You don't have to steal anything. You have the unqualified capacity within you to go to that limitless storehouse within you. Claim what you want. Feel it. Rejoice in it. It'll come to pass. Cultivate simplicity and spontaneity, knowing that whatsoever he shall ask in prayer, believing he shall receive. Decide now that you can do what you long to do, that you can be what you long to be. No enlightened person today believes that a cruel fate condemns us to sickness, misery, or suffering. That's jungle belief. That's nonsense. It's stupid beyond words. The God presence is the infinite life principle within you that always seeks to heal you. Its tendency is to restore you. Its tendency also is to illumine your pathway. There is nothing holding you in mediocrity or ill health or in a miserable condition with your own thoughts and false belief. Come out of the prison of fear, want, and loneliness. Cease thinking that God is an old man up in the skies with whiskers. God is the infinite presence, and infinite power, and infinite intelligence within you, which watches over you when you're sound asleep, and digests your food, and answers you if you say, I want to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. It wakes you up, doesn't it? Realize the infinite healing presence is within you. It can restore you. It is blasphemy to say that God is punishing you. It's gross ignorance. Ignorance is the only sin in this universe, and all punishment and misery and suffering are the consequence of ignorance. Your mind and body are one. In the field of psychosomatic medicine, they realize it is impossible to tell where the mind begins and the body ends. Research work today reveals that the hidden underlying physical maladies lie in the tangled depths of the mind, in frustrated rages, and jealousies and anxiety. It is silly to blame an infinite being for troubles, wills, by our wrong thinking, by our misuse of law. If you use the principle of electricity, you'll get into trouble, won't you? You can use water to drown a child, but water isn't evil. You can make an electric mine and blow up people, but electricity isn't evil. You can fry an egg with it. How do you use it? The principles of life are not evil. It depends how we use them. What's our motivation? You can use the power of your subconscious negatively or constructively. A girl said to me that all she desired was wisdom. That is the overall desire of everyone, but our terminology is not the same. When you have wisdom, you're expressing yourself fully here and now. An automobile is a spiritual idea in front of your door. A ham sandwich when you're hungry is an answer to your prayer, and is spiritual also. If you sing well on the stage, it is just as spiritual as a man singing the 23rd Psalm in the choir. The man who repairs the roof of your house is performing spiritual labor just as well as a minister, a priest, or a rabbi who may be reading a text from the Bible or broadcasting a sermon. Realize that the spirit and body are one. Cease looking down your nose at material things. Stop once and for all separating the Spirit of God from the flesh and blood of the world. They're one and the same. Someone asked Einstein, what is matter? He said, spirit or energy reduced to the point of visibility. The ancient Hindus 10,000 years ago said matter is the spirit reduced to the point of visibility. They said spirit and matter are one. That matter is the lowest degree of spirit, and spirit is the highest degree of matter. Every physical act, no matter how base you may consider it, is the living spirit within you animating material form. You are not degraded or demeaned when you scrub a dirty floor or clean stables. If you're condemning anything in this world, you are demoting and depreciating yourself. Good and bad are in your own thoughts, and you color everything in the universe by the way you think and feel. Do not criticize, condemn, or despise your body or the world. Your body is the temple of the living God. Paul says you're to glorify God in your body, and the whole wide world is the body of God. The world is the dance of God, and the world is the song of God. Let us have our meditation now. At the center of your being is peace. This is the peace of God. In this stillness, you feel the strength and joy and love of His holy presence. Realize infinite intelligence leads and guides you in all your ways. It's a lamp unto your feet. It's a light upon your path. Ride the white horse, which is the Spirit of God moving on the waters of your mind. Take your attention away from the problem and dwell upon the reality of the fulfilled desire. See the accomplished fact. Rejoice in it. Always go to the end. And having seen the end, you will the means to the realization of the end.